All right, so I'm outside of a 2019 Honda Civic Touring, so this is going to be the top of the line model. From the front, I'll just point out a couple things. The first thing you'll notice is it does have LED, not only daytime running lights, but LED standard headlights set up too. And then you notice the fog lights down below. Now this car runs on an 18-inch alloy wheel, so a little bit different from the models under it. So just to give you an idea, if you're moving down to an EXL, a little bit different wheel setup there. Now, alongside the car, it is trimmed with chrome here, along the door handles too. If you're looking at some of the undering models, it would not. So just things to point out from the exterior view of the vehicle, so just so you can get an idea of this. And then, of course, it is badged on the very back, letting you know that it is a touring model. So that's what's going on from that standpoint. So let's pop open the trunk and show you a couple different things here. All right, so in the trunk, you've got a 60-40 split in here, meaning that I can flip that down. I've got a seam right there, so I can go left and right, separate each other. My releases are right here and right here. The car does come with carpeted floor mats, so that's what you're gonna see right here that I'm gonna move out of the way. Now, down below that, you're gonna find your spare and all your accessories needed for that. I will point out this real quick. Notice that there is a funnel. The funnel is gonna be in relation to the gas can. So let me show you what's going on from that standpoint too. So your gas is going to be capless, meaning that if you needed to refill this and you were using like a gas can, like you ran out of gas, you're going to need that funnel. So that's what the purpose of that is. Now you'll notice I unlocked that just by pressing on it. And that's because this is connected to your door locks. So if your doors are locked, this isn't going to open. If they are unlocked, then it's going to pop open, right? So it just makes a little bit more sense to you. Now in the back seat of this vehicle, it does come with leather interior. This is white with the tan interior, or ivory as Honda will call it. It does have a flip down center console, so you've got room for drinks, and then over in the doors, you've got room for drinks too. In the back seat, you will notice that this vehicle does have heated seats, and you can see the buttons right there. So that is part of buying a touring model, something that you receive. Along the door panels, you'll notice that you do have your leather inserts too, so it's kind of nice. And they keep everything black where you're gonna see elbows and stuff like that to keep a little bit of grease and dirt off. So I will stop here for 1 second in case you want to get a quick view. You can always pause on any of this info just so you have it. Know that your gas mileage 30 in the city, 38 on the highway. This is using a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. So that's what you're going to find in a majority of my vehicles other than the LX and Sport. So hopping up front, I will point out that you do have a powered seat on your, on your driver's side. So know that you have an 8-way controlled seat here, and then over there you're going to have a 4-way powered seat in the touring model. So let's hop into the car and go over a couple different features here. So I'll start you on the door over here. First thing I'll point out is your auto up and down windows on your driver and passenger side, your window locks, your door locks, and then your mirror control. So that stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Now jumping up onto the dash, there's a couple buttons I'll point out here that not a lot of people know about. So road departure mitigation is part of your Honda Sensing Suite. So that's one of, I believe, 5 different features that is in the vehicle. What that is if I start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it will actually start to give me an audible alert and shake the wheel to be like, hey, wake up, pay attention. And it's easy to turn on and off. If the LED is not on, it's not on, and it'll let you know when you turn it off or on too. So you'll have a good indicator there. Now above that is forward collision warning, and then my braking system. So collision mitigation braking. So to turn this one off, you have to press it and hold it for a couple seconds, and then eventually it turns off. So this isn't one where you can easily bump it. You got to kind of hold it down to turn off. So what that is if it's looking like you're going to rear end a car, first it'll give you an audible alert. If you do not apply the brakes, then it will start to apply the brakes to help prevent that accident. So great feature as far as safety and keeping everyone in the vehicle alive and okay. Next to that is vehicle stability assist. That works with your traction control. So in the event that you go into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction to help correct for that skid. And then you've got a couple of empty panels here in case you wanted to add anything to the car. You've got a couple spots where you can throw in a switch or anything like that. Now, moving on to the steering wheel. I'll start you on the left side. Your Bluetooth controls are right here, so to answer a call, to hang up or go back, and then use voice command. Now this voice command button will not only work for the navigation built into the car, which if I touch it, it'll pull up and start me with my prompts, right? So I'm gonna back out of that using the backup button. But if I press and hold when I have a phone connected up, this also gives me access to Siri, or if I'm using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it'll give me access to Google also. So be aware that this is a dual functioning button. Now the I button on top of this is going to toggle through some different menus. So whether you want to see your turn-by-turn direction or a compass if I don't have something pulled up, whether you want your oil life, this is going to pull through all these different menu screens. What's cool about this is I can toggle between all my different options. You see me, all I'm doing is pressing up and it'll toggle through. So this is what I have available to me right now, FM, AM, Sirius XM. If I had the USB or Bluetooth connected, it would give me those options too. So let's move over one. Bluetooth, if I want to access that, changing from miles per hour to kilometers, and then back to my tripometer information. And then if I want to go over to some torque management stuff related to the turbo, I have this available to me also. So just some different menu screens that you can toggle through. So kind of nice. You have a lot of different options. Now, your plus and minus is going to be your volume controls off the steering wheel. You saw as I was toggling through there, I could hit the I button. I could also press to the left and right and do it. So these are just to use for whatever menu you have pulled up. So pretty easy to understand. Now back here, you'll notice a minus symbol, and then over here you'll see a positive. The car does have paddle shifters. The paddle shifters are just designed to give you a little bit more control over the vehicle as far as upshifting and downshifting. It's still an automatic vehicle, but it's going to give you just that little bit of extra control that some people prefer. Now, I do have auto on-off headlights. You can see I have them set right there, and then my fog light controls are right here if I want to turn them on or turn them off. So easy enough. I can set them and it'll adjust for me. And then on the tip of the blinker stalk, you notice there's a button right here. So anytime I turn my right blinker on, or if I press this button, it is going to turn on a camera over off my right side. So that's the Honda Lane Watch camera. And you can see the red line is the end of my car. Red to orange is a car length. And then orange to orange line is a secondary car length. So you can see what's going on there. So really nice and helpful if I'm driving down the highway. I heard a motorcycle, I can do that. Or if I'm exiting the highway, I throw on my right blinker when I'm coming off and I can see everybody down that right side without looking over my shoulder and away from the road, whereas I can keep my eyes up front now. So that is the Honda Lane Watch camera. Now moving over to the right side, you have your windshield wiper controls. Now they do have rain sensing windshield wipers. To use those, so right now this is in the complete off position. If you pull down once, it's going to give me one time, but then it's going to put it into auto. So you can see my auto mode is one down from off. So now it'll work for me and turn on and off by myself. So it's super easy to set up. You just got to know what to do. So that's how that works. Now over on the right side of the steering wheel, some of my additional Honda Sensing suite. So if the main button is on, you'll see ACC and LKS pop up on here. And that stands for Adaptive Cruise Control and Lane Keep Assist. Now Lane Keep Assist is using this button right here. So when I press that button, you're going to see some dotted lines appear up there, right? So you see them right there. Anytime I'm going over 45 miles an hour, what it's going to do is actively look to read the road using a camera up in this box right here. Once it's picked up those lines, those dotted lines right here will fill in solid. Now it's actively reading the road. If I start to drift a little bit to my left or right, it'll correct for me and keep me centered in my lane. So that's the purpose of it, just to keep me from drifting out of my lane in case I was distracted by, I spilled my coffee, my dog jumped on me, my kids were saying something. You can fill in the blank with whatever it is. Now, the other one is Adaptive Cruise Control. Adaptive Cruise Control uses this pad right here. So if I get up to speed, I would press set. From there, I would want to create distance between me and the car in front of me. So if they slow down, it'll keep that distance. So in pressing that button, you're going to see boxes appear. The more boxes that appear, the more distance it's going to keep between me and the car in front of me. So if I set my speed to 65, which it would show if I had it set because I'm not moving right now, it would say 65 up there. If the car in front of me kept slowing down and speeding up, it would keep that distance and slow down and speed up with him. Or until I got up from behind him, and then it'll take me back up to whatever seat I had set. Now, if you want to move away from that and just go use a classic cruise control, no big deal. You can still do that. Just press and hold this button for a couple seconds. It'll say cruise mode selected. Now it's just a classic cruise control. To switch back, same thing. Press and hold this button. And now I'm back to adaptive cruise control. So you can use it however you please. You have options for both. Now, moving over to the center console. On the screen, the first thing I'm going to do is show you the backup camera, just so we can get that out of the way nice and easy. So when I throw in my backup camera, you'll see it'll pull up right now. You can see those mats that I threw right down behind me, so you can see how close they were. If I want to go to a standard backup camera, or if I want to go straight down so I can see exactly where something. So if you got your kid's tricycle behind you, or they left something behind your car when you're backing out of the garage or out of the carport, you'll be able to see it before you start to move. So super helpful from that sense. And I've got 3 different views on this camera. So I'm going to move back out of that into my home button here. So this gives me all my different options in the vehicle. So same as like a home screen on a phone. So the car comes with built-in navigation. So you have access to Garmin's navigation. So really easy to use. You can pinch, you can pull, you can slide stuff around. So you can figure this out. It's not hard to work through. If you have questions about it, just let me know. Yeah, I mean, you can jump over here to your menu and get into any of your settings and different stuff if you want to start playing with things and adjusting and changing things and customizing it more to your liking. So moving off of navigation, I will point out in the same sense that you do have a smartphone connection, which is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All I do have to do is plug into the USB, which is actually right down there, and there's a cord that runs right up through a hole down here, so I can connect it up right here. And that's right behind my shifter. So this allowed me to connect my phone, set it up here so I don't have wires dangling all over the place. Now in doing so, it'll give me access to my navigation off my phone. So whether you're an Apple-based user or an Android-based user, you'd have access to Google Maps or Waze. And then if you're an Apple Maps user, then you have access to Apple Maps if you're using an iPhone. So a lot of different options it gives you as far as that goes. Now, additionally, you would have access to your music, your messages, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia Radio, WhatsApp. There's a lot of different apps that carry over, so know that if you're using this. It's a really cool feature. Now, phone, this would be if I want to connect up a phone for Bluetooth. If you've never connected one, it'll start the prompts immediately and you can connect up a phone. You see somebody who's previously connected a phone to this car. Let's say I was adding a secondary phone to this car. So I've already got the initial phone for the driver. So I would want to go to settings. From there, I'll be able to jump into Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. From this standpoint, I want to go to the device list because I want to be able to add something to that device list and then add Bluetooth device. And now it could search for my secondary phone. So that's how that works. So easy enough from that standpoint. Now in the settings, there are some other cool stuff that you should really know about. The first is under vehicle. So if you bought a car from me, fantastic, thank you. And I'm going to talk to you if you did not buy a car, but you want to know about some different settings. So pay attention here. Under door and window setup. So this is going to be your door locks. So if you wanted to set up your door locks, right now they're set to when you hit 10 miles an hour, it'll automatically lock the doors. You can change that right here. If I back out of the screen and go to that second option, this is where when I'm getting out of the car, when I open my driver's side door, it then unlocks the remaining other doors of the car. And I can change that right here too. So just some general features that you can play with. Now at the very bottom of the screen under the door and window setup, there's walkaway auto lock. This is a really cool feature. I like to turn it on. What it does is if it's on, when I get out of my car, if I have my key with me, when I hit 10 feet away from my car, it'll automatically lock the doors. So a really cool feature if you're the person who gets halfway to the grocery store and goes, I didn't remember if I locked it or I left my laptop in the car and I'm worried about it. So cool from that standpoint. So I'm going to jump back into vehicle settings and this is all those options again. So you got a lot of different stuff you can look through in here. So keyless access setup, door unlock mode. If I want to walk up and put my hand on the door, it'll only unlock the driver's side door. I can switch that to all the doors right here. So just some different stuff you can play with. You can look through there. If you have questions, let me know. Now moving, let's go over to audio here. I want to hit the source button up here in the top left and show you all your different options. So you're going to have FM, you're going to have AM, 90 days of satellite radio, USBs that I can plug into. So you saw that I have a USB down here that I can plug into. And then additionally, I do have one down in here that I can plug into. I can plug a thumb drive into that and have a bunch of music stored and just have access to that. iPods, I can plug anything in. Bluetooth, I can access phones, any devices that'll connect up, you're good to go. Pandora, it is Pandora compatible, so if you want to use that, you'll be able to pull up and see your stations and different listings and stuff like that. I usually just use like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and then I have access to Spotify and Pandora from right there. So just some different things to consider. Info, this is going to be tripometer information. So it just gives me access to that. So if I want to see that, I can see it here on the screen. Or, like I showed you earlier, you could have it pulled up over here too. So exact same info, just presentation is in two different spots. Honda Link right here is set up to where if I download the app and set up my account, and it's just a matter of setting up a login, what it will allow me to do is get VIN and recall notices, any kind of notification related to that. In addition to that, depending on the trim of the car, it gives you access to being able to do things like lock the doors from your phone and start the car from your phone. Now we're in a Touring, and I want to say that you have access to both of those. It is a subscription-based thing, so keep that in mind. But if you want to check out all my cars and see what levels offer what, just go to HondaLink.com, and you'll be able to search by levels of cars, and that way you can go through and kind of search for yourself and see. So just keep that in mind. Down below that app list, this just gives me a couple of the other apps that are in the car, calculator and things like that. It says app installer, but the way this vehicle's set up, it won't just let you like install APK files off a USB. So if you're thinking, oh man, it'd be really awesome if I could put Netflix on the car, Honda's thought a little bit ahead of us and is preventing that. I've seen people crack them and do it. You can find it on YouTube, but it's not something Honda's going to recommend. And then it's going to start playing with the warranty if you do it. So down below that, my climate control, I can pull it up on the touchscreen if I would like, or I can control a lot of it from right here. So if I jump out of that screen, adjusting my temperature, it's still going to appear up there. And I have them synced right now, so they're both running off the same. If I unsync, I can change this temperature, and this one won't change. So I'm going to sync them back here again. So just, general climate control stuff. My heated seats for the front of the vehicle are right here. So I have 3 different settings on that, and I have it on both sides. Over here, you're going to see a few different buttons, and these are probably the most asked about buttons because just a lot of people don't know what they are. Econ button, when I turn that on, you'll see a green leaf appear right up here. What the Econ button does is it improves gas mileage of the car, but in doing so, you're going to give up a little bit of the acceleration and the AC control. Now on the other side, I'm going to show you brake hold. Sorry, it's getting a little shaky. I'm trying to put my seatbelt on so I can show it to you. All right, so if the car is on and running, What brake hold allows me to do is I have the car in drive now, right? If the brake hold button is on, so if it's on, you'll see it'll appear right down here in green and let me know brake hold is on. So right, I'm in drive, the parking brake isn't on, I have my foot on the brake down here. If I let my foot off the brake, you'll notice that I'm not moving. It's holding the brake while I'm in drive. So if I'm in stop and go traffic, now I need to move the 5 feet forward, I hit the gas, we move another 5 feet, and then I switch back to the brake. Once I come to a complete stop, same thing. It's now holding the brake for me. So that's what the purpose of brake hold is. It's a convenience feature. It's really set up for like stop and go traffic. Now below that is going to be my parking brake, which is electronic. So this is set up to where if I lift it up, it will set it. And you'll be able to tell because the red LED will light up and it'll show me brake right down here in the bottom right corner. And then to release it, put my foot on the brake, press down to release it. So that's how the parking brake works. Now my center console is nice and sliding. I can slide it back and then open it up. I've got a spot for a deep well if I want to go big water bottle. If I want to go smaller drinks, I can do that. Got a change holder and some additional storage back there. Don't think that needs a whole lot of explanation. I do have home link on this vehicle, so I can connect my garage clicker, gate clicker, any of those things right here if you can see those buttons. It just gives me that ability to do so. And then it is an auto dimming mirror, so it'll adjust on its own. The car, it does have a moonroof, so one pull will open it all the way up. I'm going to send it back forward here. And then show you if you want to crack it, just press directly up on the button. It'll let a little bit of air in. So 2 different ways that works. So this is a white with ivory interior. You see it has a little bit of a two-tone and a checkered sport finish to it. So kind of nice looking car. And then my door sills are always black on top along with my dash to prevent glare. So if you have questions about this car, feel free to reach out. Be more than happy to help you in any way I can. You can always comment on the YouTube video. You can give me a call at 512-443-4300, or you can always send me an email at the letter J and then Fuller, Fuller, my last name, at howdyhonda.com. Thank you much.